Since this is October, I thought I'd look at a spooky game for a spooky month. When I was a young lad, some of my favourite games to play on PC were Putt Putt Saves the Zoo, DK's Dinosaur Hunter, Let's Explore the Jungle with Buzzy, and Diablo 2. Diablo 2 is the game that came out after Diablo 1, but before Diablo 3. I've actually never played the first Diablo, and the less said about Diablo 3 the better. Diablo 2 is the tragic tale of a warrior who so desperately wanted to become a unicorn that he stabbed himself in the forehead with the soul stone containing the soul of the evil Lord Diablo, the Lord of Terror. Now under the control of Diablo, the warrior, now referred to as the Wanderer, wanders off into the desert to free Baal, the noodle boy of destruction. After doing this, both head off to the jungle to team up with Mephisto, the frosty fellow of hatred, to open up a portal to hell and start doing all kinds of naughty things. It is your job, as a player, to stop this from happening. Your goal in Diablo 2 is to click enemies to death, pick up the items they drop, and level up skills and abilities to assist you in clicking on enemies faster. I often see Diablo 2 called a hack and slash. I would say it's more akin to Cookie Clicker but with the ability to die. This skinner box cycle of positive reinforcement makes Diablo 2 a very addicting game. You will stop having fun long before your brain will. There are 5 classes to play in Diablo 2, plus an additional 2 of the Lord of Destruction expansion. There's the Amazon that shoots stuff with a bow and arrow, the Barbarian that yells at his friends and foes, the Paladin who loves God so much he can spawn infinite hammers, the Sorceress that uses the power of fire, ice and lightning to spam the same ice attack over and over, the Druid who is a professional fursuiter and can summon a furry rave party at will, and the Assassin who lays down traps and lacks vitamin D. My personal favourite is the Necromancer. He isn't the fastest at killing stuff, but he has the ability to turn his slain foes into skeletons. This results in what I like to call trickle-down boneonomics, where one skeleton can quickly turn into 20, as they continue to kill more monsters that you just turn into more skeletons. He can also curse enemies, create spears and walls out of bones, and fart out poison gas. Graphically, the game still looks pretty good. The game runs fine on modern systems, but is restricted to a small 4:3 ratio using the vanilla game launcher. However, it is said on dark places on the internet exists a wrapper that allows the game to be played in a larger window, coloured lighting, and perspective, using long lost mysterious voodoo magic. The game uses 2D sprites of 3D models, meaning some monsters look like they came out of a 90s tech demo. But due to the small resolution, your brain normally just fills in the gaps and makes them look a lot better anyway. I will say though, there's a stark contrast between the drawn elements and the rendered 3D elements. It's also worth mentioning the game's font choice, which makes the numbers 5 and 6 look awfully similar. Speaking of 3D, check out these cutscenes. Limited resolution aside, they look alright until you see a human being's face. You heard of the Uncanny Valley? Witness the Uncanny Chasm. The soundtrack to this game is great. It's haunting and ambient without getting too bombastic. Well, until Act 5 where they bring out the Brawls Band. Each area of the game has a respective fitting music track to it that really adds to the atmosphere. Another favourite of mine is the music that plays underneath the palace in Act 2. As I mentioned, I do feel the music in Act 5 is the weakest part of the soundtrack, with its more brassy instrument choices, but it doesn't really bring the rest of the game down. It's subdued enough not to detract itself from the rest of the game, but it's still notably different from the original 4 acts music that I don't think it fits very well. As I mentioned before, Diablo 2 also has an expansion, adding an extra act, 2 additional classes, rune words, class exclusive items, and mercenary loadouts, just to name a few things. It's pretty much essential to buy the Lord of Destruction expansion to get the best experience out of this game. That being said, I have to say I feel Blizzard's online pricing for the game to be unacceptable. I can almost understand the base game going for $12, but also charging another $12 for the expansion is pretty crappy, especially considering you pretty much need it to get the best experience. If it was offered in a package for $12, I would probably think it would be a much better move. The online still has a sizable player base for a game its age, with around 7,000 active players at the time of me making this video. That being said, I reckon at least half of them are just bots, to be honest. Just bots people set up to grind for level and items. I'm actually kind of fine with this though, because a lot of these bots often run grind sessions, making it easier to level up, and a lot of these bots are actually too dumb to pick up the items, meaning you get easy access to high level gear. Seriously, you want free high tier items? Join a bot game that no one else is in. Not be just called like stuff like Run Bale 347. It's also worth mentioning Diablo 2 provides both an open battle.net option for players to use their potentially hacked single player characters, and an IP connect method, meaning that even when battle.net stops supporting the game, multiplayer can still exist. Thanks Blizzard. I mean, there's just so much other stuff I could talk about, like this manual that's full of lore and all this other interesting stuff you don't need to know, but it's just in there. And the hidden cow level. Yeah, there's a hidden cow level. Did you know about this? I'm sure you did. Everyone knows about the hidden cow level. Well, anyway, do I recommend Diablo 2? If you can get a fresh copy for cheap with a clean CD key, it's definitely worth a go. I mean, why not? Diablo 2 is a timeless classic, and I don't think it's just my nostalgia talking. I did enjoy my time replaying Diablo 2, and I probably will come back to it again someday. Unfortunately, I found myself getting burnt out of the grind after a few days. Just started playing around with like character editors to make stupidly overpowered characters. I give Diablo 2 a 8 out of 4 player slots that Diablo 3 can't seem to handle.